kids' health has been put back because of doctor's appointments that I was not able to take them to. It's affected them during their school. Things I've not been able to take care of with their needs. Homework. I had a son that didn't finish doing his homework most of the school year because he was in kindergarten. And we had him do it, but getting it completed or turned in, there was volunteering for anything in the class I could not do. Just reading a book to my child at nights was so hard for me to do. My husband did a lot, like little things like reading. My husband took on a lot of extra work, and a lot of times that meant that we couldn't do things like finally finish sorting through our old business that we have thrown in our garage and sort it out and sell things, and just had to work extra time taking care of me and the children. And let's see what else. Going out with friends. We've had to turn down a lot of opportunities to go out with them because we don't have the money to go to the places they go to. And they'll call and say, oh, it's just going to be $11 per person. And even if it's just my husband and I, we wouldn't even have the $20 to do it. We couldn't sacrifice $20 for a show where I needed it for medicine, or we needed to pay a bill because we had to use our bill money for medicine or for treatment, or for, just to see a doctor that's not covered by insurance. Or knowing that my husband had to work less to get less hours, so we had to save all that money for bills. Just be sure, I'm not sure if I got this before, but things like if there's something wrong with the car, we couldn't get it fixed unless if it kept it running. The house, if something breaks, only if it's an emergency do we fix it. We've had to go bare bone, Band-Aid approached things for it. And a lot of this, what it boils down to is that my husband had to be home to take care of me and not have the money to just pay the bills or to do the things that we want to do. So we have to just Band-Aid approach everything and not go anywhere and not do anything that requires money, or gas money for that matter, just to drive down to the park too much. And those are things that were part of the sacrifice for Daddy to be able to stay home. He had to travel less, and when he did travel, it was really difficult. It put a lot of strain on the rest of the family and my friends, and I have a lot of family and friends, and so we tried to spread that help out across. And I had a lot of people reaching out to help, and it was amazing. And people that do not have this help, if they have children, their daycare expenses are outrageous. Their meals for family is even more expensive because you're having to buy food that's packaged instead of, freshly made. And there's, let's see, what is it? Somebody else and if it's for somebody that works, like if it was my husband, his whole income would be gone and we would have lost our house. I know people that are they lose their houses and their cars and everything because they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And I'm very fortunate that I have an insurance that is trying to use a doctor that's using the insurance I have to find a way to be treated with different meds. It's not 100% the full way to do it, but we're trying to make it as inexpensive as possible. And there's some things that I'll still have to purchase, but thankfully a lot of it my insurance is able to cover. They don't cover it for the whole time. They'll have to cut me off because it's used for something else, but it's not technically for Lyme, even though it does work for Lyme, and they have to cancel. So unless if I pay for it on my own, I can't do it. So there's a few things like that that I have. Let's see what else. Having Lyme has gotten my family to a point where we are not doing much to serve others anymore as we used to do. And my kids are learning a different attitude from it, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that my kids are, on one aspect, they're learning to, they're learning what disappointment means. They're learning what it means to go through a hardship. and having to sacrifice. But on the other hand, they're not getting that experience from serving others because we are being served. People are coming to our house and cleaning it, and a lot of those chores are my children, but because I'm not governing their chores and keeping them up to their responsibilities, some of them will do it, and then some of them will cross over. And there was a lot of help, but there was the ones that they didn't want to do, and a lot of it was cleaning their own room. They just wouldn't do it, and people would just come over and just clean the kids' rooms or clean up the kitchen and do dishes. And there was a lot of things like that. So not just financially, it's really affected us as a family, and it's been really hard. It's been tough on our marriage. It's been really tough, and it's been a great learning experience. I wouldn't say tough. It's been a stress. It's been a stress on our marriage, especially with me not being as healthy, and when you serve, you get this gratification that comes through it, that you are doing something that's good and you are helping someone else. And it is such a wonderful feeling to know that you've helped someone. And it helps to build character, especially with young children, and having them do service in work aspects where they would go and clean yards and do things. And we just haven't done any of that in so long. And going to help others, or even working at Grandma and Grandpa's house to help them do whatever they need to do. And we just haven't done it. And I can see the effect it's played on my children, and I don't like that. I don't want to raise kids that are enabled and they're just not able to do simple tasks. And they are very self-centered and thinking that, all about me. And what's the other way I think of it is we're always about self-help books, and we're always trying to figure out ourselves, and we should focus on ourselves, because how can we help others if we don't focus on ourselves? And the interesting thing about that is, it's very true, we should be always trying to be a better person and make sure we focus on, don't worry about what the other person's doing. You worry about yourself. You take care of yourself. You be a good person. But the other bigger picture that I see is that when you serve others, you lose yourself in service. If you just lose yourself in service, you find yourself. And it's so true, because you find out who you really are, and you find out so much more about the way the world is, and you look at perspectives and just the pure fact of helping someone. I am at a loss for words because I'm focusing on driving right now, and this is just for my notes, so I should not even have to explain this. Let's see. So there's that aspect. I can go into a sentence or two about that. My church calling, I've had to put all this extra weight on others who already have a large responsibility, and our social life has suffered. We have a lot of friends, but we aren't able to go out and do things with friends because of that. It's also affected the social life of my children. So since we are not going out and doing things, we are all not also proactively helping our children to go out and have friends and do things. And so their social life has gone downhill. And that plays a huge difference. We have a lot of help and acceptance, but still, when you have a family member with chronic illness, everybody is suffering from it in the family, and in their own ways, and how they have to deal with it too. And it's really tough to watch my husband or my children go through it, and knowing that all this is happening, and the progress to get better is so slow. But I do hold on to the fact that I'm grateful that I was diagnosed. I did have a great doctor that did that, and that just heard that keyword based off all my symptoms, and they were just strange and sporadic. And then I mentioned the word camping, and that's what I think clicked it for her. But without her running that test that I didn't even know she was going to run, and she just called me, and the car's shaking. Somebody called me up and said, you have a positive Lyme test. We're sending you into an infectious disease doctor. And then after that, it was just his history. And that's the other thing. I need to write my story. I need to do my story.